Welcome to another edition of Meet the Metapreneur. I have with me today Lauren Kacher, who is the founder of ALTERRAGE, based in Paris. Welcome, Lauren, to the show.
Hello, thank you for having me.
No, it's great. And I've been following you on LinkedIn, and I know that you've been in this space for about a year and a half. Please bring our audience up to speed in terms of what you do and what is the USP of your business.
Yes, I'd love to. So just a bit about me. My background is as a designer. I've been working in the industry for about 12 years now. Started in New York, then in London, and then now I've found myself in Paris. And so I have had a lot of experiences within even production, development, and now more focused on design. And that actually, by working in the industry, led me to discover digital fashion and all the opportunities around that. I also, in my experience, kind of noticed two fundamental issues within the system. The first being about how products are made, not currently like very sustainable or like in a circular kind of fashion. So that was one problem I was having. And the second one was this kind of idea of breaking into fashion. And so that's something that I'm now using kind of Web3 to mitigate that issue. And that basically led me to found ALTERRAGE. We really began last August, was the first time we really started to release our first collections and start to build our team. And so ALTERRAGE essentially is an emerging DAO-led fashion label. And we create product across physical, augmented, and digital space. So we kind of go one step further than just digital fashion, but we can go more.
That's amazing. No, that's amazing. And you've already achieved a lot from what I can see in this short time. And as we were discussing, the metaverse is being built as we speak. It's all work in progress, very few finished goods. And the good thing is that it's being built at breakneck speed, right? So every time I have a conversation with some of my metaverse community friends, they make progress on a weekly basis. So it's fascinating times, for all of us, I think, to be involved in this industry. So I'm also curious to know, which brands you have worked for in the past and what are the kind of collaborations you're looking for?
Yeah, for sure. So previously, I was focusing more on the sustainable side, and I was also working with an accessory design, but also previous experience with garment. So in Paris, before the pandemic, I was working at Saint Laurent and Loewe and Voltaire. And so at each of these places, I tried to always kind of integrate a way to introduce sustainability in the process of design, since that was more my focus. And so one of those examples was called the Surplus Bag Project that I had led at Loewe. And so it was about how do you take the leftover remnants within the cutting process of creating a bag and kind of reintroduce that into the design studio. So for me, it was always trying to find kind of like a new systems in design, because for me, like the problem really starts with the fundamental stage of design. And if we kind of bypass that and don't address circularity before the production, then I think we're missing a big opportunity. And so that's also something that I've brought with me now in my current projects.
Awesome. Also, Lauren, I was, while going through your bio, I noticed this concept of meta reality that you seem to have pioneered. What does that stand for? What does it even mean? Can you explain to our audience?
Yeah, I have an obsession with making up words. I think many people who know me find this interesting, but sometimes cryptic. So I'll have to be writing a dictionary. But I came across this idea of not only that there's like this digital and physical space, but there's also an augmented reality space where we will, in the future, I would think, have some kind of glass or way to layer digital on top of reality, kind of like Pokemon Go is how I think about it. So for me, there are three spaces that have both constraints and also benefits. And so that's why I think it's really important to, when designing fashion product, to cater that to the specific place it will be used. So for example, for physical, We already have a lot of environmental constraints. There's lots of issues with waste. So how can we design physically that is very circular? We think about the end of the life of the product at the stage of creation. And also it's more about comfort. It's on our body, we're touching it. And I think that's an element that we can't forget as we move into the metaverse, because our subconscious is not yet implanted into a computer. So this is still a very valid space that needs to be improved. And I believe that digital can do that. So that's the first space. Within the meta reality formula, I've called this IRL. So this is pretty accepted, I think. IRL, in real life, is a physical world. So that's like one aspect. And then the second one is this idea of augmentation. So AR, kind of like a layer on top of the physical world. And for me, I'm almost more interested in this at the moment because, like you said, the metaverse, it's still being built. And like these like earrings I'm wearing, it's an opportunity we already have now to start using digital. So, and people are quite familiar already with filters by using Instagram. So I think this is a massive opportunity and one I'm especially focused on. So we call this ORL, which was coined by Danny Loftus from This Alpha Does Not Exist. So that means on real life. And so kind of combining these two aspects, the physical, something more understated, simple, sustainable, plus the ORL, the augmented. We use it kind of more like a digital embroidery is what we call it. So it's not the full garment because you kind of have some technological blocks to make that look really real and convincing. And so then the third space is what, I mean, we're all really excited about, is building essentially a new world. So that would be the LTL is what we call it. And that means larger than life. So why would you want a sweatshirt in the metaverse when you could be on fire or be a cloud or anything? So for us, it's all about how do you optimize what you're creating to the constraints and the benefits of each world. So for me, that's what meta-reality means. And that's then at ALTERRAGE how we're creating our collections around these concepts.
Awesome. Thanks for expanding my vocabulary. And by the way, I also believe in creating words. So I coined Metapreneur from metaverse and entrepreneur. And that's our name of the show. So we have something in common there. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. So I'm also fascinated by these digital earrings that you are sporting today. I'm very intrigued by how this works and what are the, what is the future of NFT jewelry? We are reading a lot that digital fashion is, going to be huge in the coming years. And a lot of well-known brands are already jumping onto the bandwagon. What is your take on the future of, let's say, digital fashion in general?
Yeah, I think it's all about utility and use case. So that's a big difference for me between like design and fashion versus art. So that's honestly why I'm a designer, because I enjoy kind of this intersection between like creation, culture, and then also use and someone wearing something to kind of create their identity. So I think, yeah, like AR filters, like these earrings, are a really interesting start for someone to get involved with digital fashion. So these earrings we did in collaboration with Jevels, which is a digital-only marketplace for jewelry. Also, technically speaking, filters are really like working well with the face. So we have like these calls. So I think that kind of also sets it up for success a bit. And so then now attaching that to an NFT gives the possibility of ownership, digital scarcity, and also resale. So I think all of those factors kind of set up jewelry, especially, to be really interesting and accessible. So I think where we'll have maybe more development to be done is where we have like more full body tracking. How do you use a full body filter? For us at ALTERRAGE, for our filters, we kind of consider like these face ones to be more the ready to wear, something more commercial. And then we have body ones that are more kind of couture for performance, for musicians. And so still there's more technical development needed with the body versus the face is like a more accessible start.
Yeah, incredible. So I also had the opportunity of visiting Susanna's Bastian's store. I wasn't bold enough to buy any earrings, but I did sport some fancy glasses.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, very cool looking, So Yeah, so that's the closest I got to digital jewelry. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think the future is pretty much clear as far as I'm concerned. And for brands who are on the cusp of whether or not, I think now is the time. In fact, I say future is now. So don't wait for others to get on, to the metaverse. Be the first. Be a pioneer. Take that first step, which also brings me to my final question in this fireside chat. And when I started this show, one of the objectives was to encourage entrepreneurs and SMEs to get into this space. So since you already have a head start of a year and a half, what are your learnings and what would you like to share with people who are for the first time wetting their feet in the metaverse space?
Yeah, I guess the first thing I would say is like, it's not too late. I think we all feel like it moves so fast, but right, like Web3, it's really heavily based on like technology, and also something that's very different from how we currently work is that we're heavily involving the community, and that causes things to accelerate quickly and also to weed out what isn't working. It's honestly, I see this to be more working like nature. It's based on micro communities, based on like voting, decisions made as a community. So it's difficult to make things that people aren't really going to use, aren't applicable, and aren't interested in. So that's honestly more sustainable as well, to create things people are actually going to use. So yeah, I think like how I would start, how I would suggest starting would be just try to connect with people who are also building in the industry. Another thing that we're really interested at ALTERRAGE and what we're doing now is transitioning to be a DAO. So it's a totally new way of working. For me, really interesting because I had a lot of barriers while working in fashion to entry. So the idea is that anyone who's willing to contribute, to put in time to like help build, can enter. And so with ALTERRAGE, we have these different spheres, are what we call them, but different ways to connect directly within our team and help to co-create and build the fashion label together. So I would also recommend connecting with people building, learn about the technology behind Web3, so including blockchain, crypto, and smart contracts, tokenomics. There's a lot of subjects and it can feel overwhelming, but I think the best way is to really do it by collaboration. So join a DAO that you find interested, enter Discord, and start to just kind of chat and figure out where maybe you're the most interested in, and do some tests, because Web3, I think, is all about testing, and it's about like trying to understand both each kind of component, but then finding where you're really fitting. And I think there's a place for everyone.
Yeah, thanks. I think you've shared a lot of tips. And if I may just add one more, based on my experience of last 4 months in this industry, once you start building your community, you'll meet the best people in your life. I find everybody so friendly, and I can proudly say that on WhatsApp, on Discord, on Telegram, I have so many groups that I'm part of, and I love every interaction. So there you have it. Thank you, Lauren, for sharing your thoughts with me today. I wish you success in your business and would love to stay connected with you going forward. Thank you once again for your time.
Thank you so much. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah, all the best. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.